The Five Rings Podcast with Duane Rollins and Kevin Laramee on the Sports Podcasting Network. Follow us and listen to us live on Twitter at Five Rings Podcast and like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Sports Podcasting Network for more content.
And good day, good night. Welcome to the Five Rings Podcast. I'm Kev Laramee, joined by Duane Rollins, as always, as we start to review and wrap up Day 15. Day 15 means the last full day of competition before the closing ceremonies. But first, Duane, how are you today?
I'm doing well. You know, it's always a little sad the last day, but, I can... handled the sadness by just looking ahead one weekend and knowing the Premier League's back next week.
Yeah, Premier League, the rest of the world, soccer today, back on Monday. A lot of great things continuing in the world of sports, and we'll talk about it very soon because our wood medal will touch that point. And I also have a couple of interesting facts for you, Duane, in that moment. But we want to start the show today by talking about a couple things. And I want to talk to you, Duane, about the relay 4x4 woman. It was really interesting to me to see how well the Canadian did in that one. Just off the podium, it was an amazing battle for third between Jamaica and Canada. From Constantine in the third leg all the way to Sage Watson when she crossed the line. She felt dejected because she lost the third, you would say, but it was such a battle between her and the Jamaicans. I really enjoyed that race. I thought it was a very fun race, and just looking at the battle for bronze, that third spot, it was such a battle, so close. And we have some athletes in the 4x4 that are not in that discipline. They're hurdles athlete, and they did really good, and just a hair off the podium for Canada. I thought it was a really good performance, but the race itself was compelling because of that battle between Jamaica and Canada.
Back-to-back Olympics, they finished fourth, so you can understand the frustration. I mean, it's easy for someone like you or I to say fourth is amazing, but when you're standing on that track and you're 4 feet away from an Olympic medal, it's got to be a little hard to stomach at that point. But that said, it was a great performance by them. It's frustrating for the female side of the track team in Canada. They have not won a medal, where the men have won a lot, which is the opposite of swimming. So, it kind of works out that way, as we suggested last week. But, look, I don't know what more to say other than it was a great effort. And, the fact that you were ahead of Jamaica with 100 meters to go tells you a lot of things, because Jamaica. They're, the class of sprinting. So it was a good effort there. The Americans in that race were untouchable, clearly, but hopefully they can get something done. They can continue to inspire people, and they can improve that side of the team, because it was a brilliant meet otherwise for Canada. I'd like to see it be a little more split down the middle in terms of the medals, but nonetheless, fourth place is no shame, and fifth place in the 1500 earlier, shame. Like I guess that was yesterday. It's all blending now, but it's been a great meet for the Canadians, better than I could have ever imagined 20 years ago, and certainly they've met expectations. And
yeah, well, the swimming aspect of it really also gave us indication that it's going to be good Olympics for Canada. But of course, swimming was dominated by amazing women performances, and on the track it was more the men, but of course not to the same level. But it was enjoyable on both sides, and I really enjoyed the Olympics. And of course, we're going to do a wrap-up show when it comes to the whole Olympics in just probably tomorrow, as it looks right now. So that's going to be another fun time between Duane and I to take a look at these competition as a whole, and which performance gets the wood, the poutine, maybe a super poutine, and of course bronze, silver, and gold for the entirety of the game. But before we move on to wood, Duane, I want to talk about something that I think is really hilarious. And of course, I haven't watched the entire baseball tournament, so this might not be new for you if you watch the entirety of the baseball tournament. But there is a very quirky cart that brings the pitchers from from their warm-up area to the place where they pitch. It's not them running. No, it's a cart that has like a glove as the seat, and it's electric, and it's beautiful.
Well, God love the Japanese and their gadgets, right? So, yeah, a lot of fun. I'm happy that baseball was in this tournament, in this event, the Olympics, the event I'm speaking of. I wish it would remain. We know it's not for now, but certainly, it adds color. I didn't watch a lot of baseball either, even though I am happy about that. I watched quite a bit of softball, though. That part of that's the cheering interest thing. Part of that's because I've got a lot of stuff going on. It's a tough fit, right, because of MLB, but nonetheless, that's a fun little quirk. Kind of like the little car that brought the ball out at the Euro final. Everyone likes gadgets, so there you go.
Well, that car for the Euro final was really branded Volkswagen. It was literally a Volkswagen car too, But this is, at least it's a little bit more subtle than it's a Toyota branding, so it's a bit more subtle. That's the one thing I like about the Olympics is you never see directly when you watch a competition advertising during the Olympics in the actual stadium and stuff. So that's a big difference from like the Euro, where you just look everywhere like, oh, Volkswagen, Hisense, Toyota. Anyways.
Yeah, well, they learned the lesson from '96. The Atlanta games were widely viewed as the commercial high point of low point in many people's mind of the game. So they backed off a little bit. Although look, those global sponsors, they get a great deal out of it. Although I don't know if people notice, McDonald's isn't a global sponsor anymore, which is significant because they've been around for a long time. But
well, you don't haven't seen a whole lot of McDonald's commercial. You know what I've seen? I've seen a lot of Toyota commercial from the Mexico gymnast who runs, and that's a great filmed commercial too. But yeah, you're right. McDonald's, haven't seen them.
No, they're not there. And the other Toyota commercial is you don't have to be excellent to begin, but you have to begin to be excellent or whatever.
You don't have to be great to start. No, you don't have to be amazing to start, but you got to start to be amazing.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, well, obviously it's really implanted on me. But no,
I don't have a Brazilian accent to make it sound a little nicer, though. That's just
yeah. Exactly. No, look, we're not here to give the these multinational companies more advertising, but yeah.
Let's go to our wood medal for today. Day 15, wrapping up here in the coverage of Tokyo 2020. Here we go. And it is, yes, bye-bye Tokyo. After 15 full days of competition, the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games are nearing the end. We'll have the marathon tomorrow. And that's pretty much it. Then the closing ceremonies. Duane, the adding benefit of postponing the Summer Games by a year is that the Winter Games are only 181 days away.
Well, exactly, which is actually helping me through this a little bit more.
It's 6 months. 6 months. February 22nd, February 4th, 2022, the games will start all the way to February 22nd.
I'm actually old enough to remember when they run the same year. I remember the '92 double whammy there. Look, it's sad. It is. It's been an enjoyable games. I didn't quite know what to think of them going in. I probably was looking forward to them the least of any summer games ever because of the delay and uncertainty and all that. It is more like self-preservation, right? I didn't want to be disappointed if they got canceled again is what it came down to. But once it got going, there were a lot of great performances, and ultimately I did notice that the fans weren't there, but I didn't notice as much as I thought I would that the fans weren't there. So hopefully, I suspect, I don't know what's going to happen in Beijing. It's 6 months. God knows what the world's going to be. Hopefully it can be, hopefully it can be a real game, like games that have all the bells and whistles that we're used to. It's sad though that it's done, but then again, I could use some sleep. So
Duane's been battling with the sleep aspect for the last couple of days. It has been difficult, of course, in the compounding aspect, but you'll never get the sleep back, but also you have memories though that no one will ever take away.
Well, exactly. I will always do this, but I don't think I could do it much longer. And honestly, at this point in time, 2 weeks is about the right amount of time.
At least you got some practice in, because we had Pyeongchang, now you had Tokyo, Beijing, and then we're off to a different time zone where The only thing is you have to wake up a little earlier than normal and go to bed a little earlier, but that's about it. So one more Olympic Games in Asia for us, Duane. The third one, and then we're good for a couple decades.
Yeah, it's the Asian games are tough for North American audiences. You have to be nocturnal, and it screws you up a lot. But they deserve them too. I'm not going to begrudge them holding games by any means. I'm hardly going to ask them to change their schedule, unlike NBC, to do that. But like the men's basketball game happening, the gold medal game happening before the bronze medal game. What? Anyway.
Well, we got to have the people watching, which we did, and yeah. France trying to make a go of it at the beginning, and then the States are like, well, it's our game.
Yeah, it was a closer tournament overall, but it still, ultimately ended the way we all expected it to. So there you go.
It did. All right. Let's start our journey in the positive aspect of the games, the journey to positivity. That should be in my motivational podcast talk. The journey to positivity with Kevin Laramee. Duane, let's talk about our poutine medal for today. It is another medal. Canada won another medal yesterday. Bronze medal in the canoe sprint, women's C2 500 meters. Second medal for Laurence Vincent Lapointe. And first medal for Katie Vincent. Katie Vincent is from Mississauga, Ontario. Laurence Vincent Lapointe from Quebec, from the province of Quebec. And to me, this performance is really amazing because Laurence Vincent Lapointe this might be her only games. We'll see if she sticks around to Paris. But she has been there 11 years ago when at the top level in the World Championship, this discipline started with the women's canoeing. And she's really proud. And she said, the quality was there 11 years ago, but it wasn't like it is now. I'm happy we did this at the Olympic at this level. And we were able to show that women can canoe too. And I still can't believe that it took all the way to this Olympic for these disciplines to be involved on the women's side too. Congratulations to the women's C2 in Canada. Bronze medal, Laurence Vincent Lapointe, Katie Vincent.
Yeah, it was really neat to listen to those women talk about being in the Olympics and just how pure their emotions were about having that opportunity, how much it mattered to them to be there. And as you say, she was a world champion for 8 years or so in the teens, right? And she's a little past it now, but ultimately to get 2 medals, she's not too far past it, just not quite at the gold anymore. And she seemed completely happy with that, and you can understand it. It was nice to see, and it's in terms of why wasn't there for so long. I mean, who knows? Well, we do know why.
Well, we know because it's white men that were in the decision making positions, and they've been there for so long, and it doesn't involve them, and they don't see the importance of it being there, so they didn't. Up until now, it takes revolution for things to change. It also takes a lot of not revolt, but like some people expressing their unhappiness with this, and it takes a lot of pressure. And Laurence Vincent Lapointe was one of these athletes. She was a member of that committee that was trying to push for an Olympic place, and it took a lot of work. But the fact that she won medals and she gets rewarded for that hard work that she did put for the last few years into this, it's amazing. And also, let's not forget the whole doping thing that she went through. She was falsely accused, so that's also a great aspect.
Look, the IFC has to make tough choices in terms of what sports are in there, and I don't always agree with them. But if they have to draw the line somewhere, right? But one thing that is not justifiable at all is to have a sport in the game only allow the men to play. That doesn't make any sense, and thankfully they fixed that. Took them too long, but it's done now, so good for them. Happy to see it, and it was nice to see the emotion attached to it.
It was really nice to see the emotion attached to it. I really like the fact that they were celebrating, and then I think Katie did it on purpose, but she kind of pushed Laurence in the water. I thought that was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, those anyone who goes across the water, they like to throw people in the water in that sport, in those sports, in the rowing, the paddling sports. Yeah.
Walk on the pier at your own risk.
Exactly, you get it. It's it's very much part of the culture of any sport to kind of have a little fun with each other. So it's a celebration. Everyone likes it. It's fine as long as
it was great. As long as you don't drown, first of all, and but they have a little dinghy to come and save you in case you do. Also, we learned that during the games. That was a fun time. We'll be right back after this short break with our bronze, our silver, and our gold medal for day 15, the last full day of competition in Tokyo 2020. We'll be right back after this short break. We're back on the Five Rings Podcast. Laramee with Duane Rollins, as always. Thanks for following us on social media. This beautiful show is available at Five Rings Podcast. You can follow myself at Duane at 24th Minute, and myself at Laramee. And we are back to give you our bronze, our silver, and our gold medal for day 15. The last individual medals, at least for a day only, of these Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. Let's start with the bronze. And the bronze was a great game, a great performance overall. And Japan got their medal in the one sport they wanted back in these Olympics. They beat not just any team, they beat the United States for the gold medal. That's the way they would have drawn it if they had the choice before the tournament. Baseball at the Olympics in Tokyo, won by Japan. That's their moment for these Olympic Games.
For sure. Like, I mean, we're in Canada, so obviously when you have a game or a sport that matters to you a little bit more than the rest, you kind of want to win it at the end. Just like, the golden goal is still talked about as one of the greatest Canadian soccer. That's a Freudian slip there. Canadian sports moment of all time, right? Like, because, we needed to win that game. In many ways, they needed to win that as well. And Japan's had a decent game. I didn't know what they would look like heading into this. I didn't know whether the lack of fans in there would reduce the home advantage, but they've had a pretty brilliant game. So, and this is the capper on it. And it's unfortunate that they wouldn't have had a crowd in there, but nonetheless, I'm hopeful that the people there at least enjoyed that. And who knows when we'll see baseball back? Probably LA, but we'll see. And it's nice to see it win.
Unless we see American football in LA, which could be a possibility. Who knows? There's a few.
Hey, silver medal for us.
Hey, I don't know. Mexico's getting pretty good. I would be worried about Mexico, but that could be possible. But that's our medal for our bronze medal for day 15. Of course, the overall tournament, there was a few surprises, but overall, if you're looking at the best four teams in this tournament on paper before the tournament started, well, they all made the semifinal. Because when you think about baseball, you think about, of course, Japan and the United States of America. You also think about the Dominican Republic and even Korea. And both these teams also made the semifinal. So it's a pretty predictable tournament at the end, but USA being upset by Japan is a good story for the host country. And they did showcase some aspect of the beautiful game, of the game that I think are more beautiful. That's a little Freudian slip here too. I'm not talking about soccer. But we're seeing also, I think, the streamlining of these sports and the fact that it's in an Olympic context and that they're not interrupted every 2 seconds by commercials and not interrupted by switching of pitchers every 2 seconds. So there's a bit more of a fluidity to these games, and I can include basketball in this conversation too, that have made me enjoy this a bit more than regular baseball.
100%. Yeah, like you see that in all the Olympic sports. I mean, we'll talk about this in 6 months when we watch hockey games and go, wow, the hockey game can happen in less than 2 hours. Amazing.
Basketball and the different rule set makes for a better basketball game too. Anyways, if you're listening to the NBA, how about you do like all the other sports American sports, North American sports do not usually use the international rules. But in soccer, maybe we should.
Fair enough. Yeah. No. Look. I'm happy baseball was there. I'm happy softball was there. I'm not sure why they have to have two different ones for the men and the women, but whatever. Hopefully it gets back in at some point. And Japan is a worthwhile winner. And look, if you're an American fan out there, you're probably going to fluff this off because you can say if the MLB players are there, you win, and that's likely true. But at the same time, if you look at the World Baseball Classic,
yeah, like Ohtani, if the MLB players are there, Shohei Ohtani is there, and by himself he can throw a perfect game and hit 4 home runs in the same game. So you never know actually.
Yeah, baseball tournaments are weird for that very reason. If you have one dominant pitcher, you can win, right? Like it's the same with it's always kind of weird that baseball is this grind of 162 games, and then they basically throw that all out the window and have like short sprints to decide.
You have a good reliever, like example, a good closer. Sometimes you can make a difference. But that was our bronze medal for day 15. Let's move to the silver medal for today. That was a race that I really enjoyed to watch today. Surprising results, or maybe not. Jakob Ingebrigtsen from Norway. He's the European champion. He won the Euros just a few months ago. Gold medal in the 1500 meters. 3 minutes 28 seconds and 32 100th. A new Olympic record in the 1500 meter. That's the mile, a little less than a mile, but you know what I mean. And to me, that's a great performance in front of the Kenyan, in front of their favorites. The European is taking this amazing victory. And when I watched that race, I was really surprised because his kick at the end, it was wow. He wasn't even close to the lead 500 meters out. So two-thirds of the race, he's not even in contention. And then he starts the kick. And then you just see that Norwegian rocket overtake everyone on the final stretch and win by a whole lot. And that was the interesting aspect to me, is how he surprised the favorite in the last stretch.
The 1500 is as much about the brain as it is the body. Well, you have to have both, but the strategy makes a great deal. And obviously he ran a perfect race for his abilities to be able to kick down that stretch and pull away. Like, it ultimately wasn't that close at the end. A very, very good performance. And I love the 1500. It's my favorite race out there. I think it's got the elements of speed, power, and strategy. It's quick enough that you're not, when you're watching a 10K, you might drift in and out a little bit, right? Like, or a 50K as we did the other day.
You might not even a little bit, like, okay, I'm back. What did I miss?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, even the guys in that race would admit that's possible. But like, no, 1500 is it's like I say, I think it's the best race in the Olympics, and it was a dominant Olympic record. What can you say? Norway, that notorious track and field power, Norway, with a second gold medal and a second dominant performance, proving that this is a equal opportunity sport.
Yeah, and the aspect here is that it's not out of nowhere, because yes, we don't necessarily see European athletes win the 1500s. It's been a discipline dominated by African athletes over the last couple of decades, but it's not out of nowhere. In the World Championship in Doha, he finished 4th in the 1500 meters, and he finished 5th at the 5,000 meters. Of course, he won the Olympic. He actually won the European Indoor Championship for the 3,000 meter. He finished 2nd for the 1,500 meter. He won the European Championships outdoor in 2018, finishing 1st of the 1,500 and the 5,000. So he's not coming out of nowhere, but he's 20 years old. He's so young for this mid-distance type of effort. He's going to be there and dominating. Like world record will be possible very shortly.
No, exactly. It's also, as I said, because it is a discipline that's really requires the brain too, that you don't regularly see younger athletes. And to win at 20, I mean, what are you going to do? She's obviously the favorite of Paris at this point, and probably LA too. So yeah, no, a great run, and it's been a very good track and field meet. That's what I'll say. I'm looking forward to Eugene. It's going to be an interesting world championship in not that long either.
No, exactly. And
yeah.
in between, we have a Winter Olympics. The next year of the 5 Rings podcast got 2 competitions with daily shows. It's going to be fascinating. All right. This was great. We love the 1,500 meters, and he's going to be great at the 5,000 too, moving forward. And he's got a chance to beat a whole lot of records moving forward. I wouldn't be surprised if in Paris he's a contender for the 1,500 and the 5,000, which you don't see often. But you know what we've seen in these games is someone trying to go for a triple involving all these great distances. Someone who tried to go for the 1,500, the 5,000, and the 10,000. And you know what, Duane? She actually got 2 out of the 3, with the third one finishing third. Not too shabby. Sifan Hassan in amazing fashion, with panache, I would say, winning the gold medal of the women's 10,000 meters. She also won the 5,000 meters, and she finishes third of the 1,500 meters. Not too bad at all for someone that maybe should not even have made it out of the heats after falling or being tripped during the heats of the 1,500 and doing the last 500 meters for anthology that we will see replayed forever in the Olympics lead up to Paris and other competitions. But Sifan Hassan, our gold medal for day 15, not only for this 10K victory, but for the entirety of our Olympic Games, at least in my opinion.
We'll see where we go when we do our ultimate goals, but real good shout there for the most dominant worldwide story of these games, that attempt at the triple, which is not a normal combination. You don't often see people that can win a 10K and a 1,500 because they are very kind of different disciplines in terms of what you need to do to be successful in them. And to come as close as she did at the 15, which is probably in some ways the bronze is probably the most impressive thing she did.
It's true.
It's incredible. This is a games that doesn't have, like, the past 3 or 4 Olympics have had pretty obvious, stars, so to speak, of the games. There's not really a jump out one that you say absolutely is the person who's the stand-up superstar of these games, but it could be her for sure, because that's an incredible accomplishment. Yeah. Anytime you do a 5-10 double, it's that's big stuff. So yeah, the best distance runner on the female side right now. That's the bottom line, and yeah. God bless her for trying that 15, because that's to finish third in that. Wow.
And if it wasn't for maybe other opportunities or the heat, she might have won that race. So you never know. But her pedigree talks for itself. 2019 world champion at the 1,500 and 2019 world champion at the 10,000 meters. So she's done it before, but in there you don't have the 5,000, which is surprising. But she did win the 5,000 while she's the bronze in London, and she's the 1,500 in Beijing in 2015. So she has some experience, and she's probably going to try that again. But it is a fascinating performance, and we've seen her not only do great things, but also do it with panache and with a lot of heart shown. And she has a great life story too, being a refugee in the Netherlands and then representing that country and being thankful. And she was shattered at the end of the 10,000 meters. She was collapsing, being brought back up, saying no to the wheelchair, and then going for the stairs and collapsing under the stairs. With the aid of the medical team, she was not injured. They were there supporting her. She didn't collapse and fall, by the way. She was just not standing up on her own volition, and she was helped down. And to me, it shows the amount of energy needed to do what she do, but to do what she did. But also the realization that, okay, I can rest now. It's like, okay, one more thing. I got one more thing to do. I crossed the line. Okay, done. Shut it off. Bring me home.
Well, exactly. I mean, look, they push themselves to levels that us mortals cannot understand, and the body is not designed to get to. So absolutely, that demonstrates that underlines that for sure. Yeah, look, brilliant performance. A double in the 510, that's all-timer stuff. As I said already, a unique treble she's trying. Doesn't quite get it for the golds, but on 3 podiums, what more can you say?
No, and I also want to mention her strategy in the 10,000 meters against Gaudet, who beat her for the world record in June. She June 6th, she does a world record, and then just like 2 days later, Gaudet from Ethiopia just beats her world record by not even a second. So that must have been a bit deflating. But at the end of the day, she beat her for the gold medal. But the strategy, and Gaudet was getting mad, and she had that negativity inside her because she was like, "You go do the pace now, Stefan. You go. I'll let you go." It was her, the American Gonzaga, and Stefan Hassan. All three were the leading pack for the last 1,000 meters, even more. So Gaudet was leading, and Hassan was like, "I don't owe you anything. Why would I lead? You chose to do this now. Now deal with it." So slowly, Gaudet would start to slow down the pace and trying to force Hassan to go lead. But the fact that she slowed the pace gave the opportunity for Stefan Hassan to not exert her full energy there. And then she had a kick. Gaudet, exposed to the wind and the elements in the entirety of this race, leading it, she had nothing left. And that's very strategic also, the way Stefan Hassan won. It's not just on pure will and energy, it's also on strategy, which is the beauty of sports to me. It's a combination of all these things.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I mean, I said the 1500 is the brain and the body, but all of these things are. Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, I'm reiterating, like it's an amazing performance, and she absolutely deserves our gold medal of the day. And I'm sure that, again, as I said the other day, that's the greatest honor that she will receive today, our gold medal.
Yeah, of course. She doesn't even care about the other one right now. She's like, "Oh my Lord, they gave me the one for 5 rings. I can rest happy now." Let's look at our final medal standings heading into tomorrow night. The People's Republic of China, as the recording of this show, are top with 38 gold medals. We have the U.S. second with 36 gold medals. Japan third, 27. The Rock, the Olympic committee from that country that shall not be named, is fourth with 20 gold medals. Great Britain fell one, now fifth with 20. Congratulations to Tom Daley for another medal at the 10-meter platform. A bronze, well deserved. China 1 and 2. China and diving are as good as peanut butter and jelly, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much the rest of the field's playing for bronze whenever they're in there. Yeah, normally.
Good on you, everyone, for showing up to participate in this competition of diving and trying to get the bronze medal. Australia, 6th with 17 gold medal. And Canada has wrapped up its performance at the games. I do not believe they have a shot for the marathon. You actually never know in these opportunities. But Canada, 13 with 6 gold, 6 silvers, and 11 bronze for 23 medal. That's the most ever at a Summer Games, total-wise, for Canada.
Yeah, they had 7 golds in Atlanta, so a little bit more there. Yeah, it was, but yeah, I think it's the best game Canada's ever had, and we'll talk about this more when we wrap up. But in terms of the diversity of sports that they won the medals in, they were competitive in more events. They put more athletes were close to medals too, which matters, like because that's your interest if you're doing that. It just absolutely was a great play, and obviously the women's soccer team winning that gold medal in a team sport, which is something that hasn't happened at the Summer Games since before the Second World War. So yeah, it's pretty good games, and you can't complain if you're a Canadian cheering for them.
No, Summer Games were pretty good, and we hope you enjoyed this wrap-up of Day 15. Until our wrap-up show tomorrow, you can follow Duane on social media at 24th Minute, myself at Kev Laramee, and this show at 5 Rings Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/sports podcasting network so you never miss a show. And also, make sure you subscribe to our podcast feed, because after the Olympics, we'll continue to bring you some Olympic content, and we're getting ready because right after Tokyo ends, the road to Beijing starts. 181 days away only for the opening ceremonies of the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympic Games. It's just a few months. It's going to be quick. The next time we see competitions is not that far away. But as always, until tomorrow, for Duane Rollins, I'm Kev Laramee. We hope you enjoyed the coverage of the Five Rings podcast of these Tokyo 2020 games. And until next time, as always, have a great Olympiad.